Welcome to the Win Win Evangelism Podcast. I'm Tina Waldrom from Evangelism in Australia. Well, I love helping you feel confident and inspired to share Jesus naturally and, more importantly, consistently. Before today's interview, I want to let you know about our free download that will help you answer the hard questions that non-Christians have about faith. You can get that for free on our website, evangelisminaustralia.com. Well, today I'm delighted to have back on our show Jessie Skelly. He's the Aussie National Director of PAIS Movement, a global non-denominational Christian missionary and discipleship organisation training young adults to share Jesus in schools. And today we're going to talk about prayer, pioneering and evangelism. Welcome to you, Jessie.
Thanks, Tina. It's great to be here.
Great to have you back on the show. How long have you actually been the National Director for PAIS, and what are you seeing kind of big picture of what God is doing in Australia right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've been the National Director of PAIS in Australia for the last 4 years. And I think as a whole, I'm seeing a lot more unity across the body of Christ in our nation, which is really encouraging. I'm seeing a lot more people go, hey, here's my strengths, here's what I bring to the table, here's what I offer, but how do I lay down my platform, my ego, my brand, like PAIS, to just pursue his kingdom and work together collaboratively, which is super exciting. And I think that means we can actually have mass effect or reach more people on scale.
Yeah, I love that because really the people that we're reaching, the communities that we're reaching, really all as they know is there's some Christians helping, serving, whatever. They're not so much interested in who it is, who's behind it, but they do see the unity of people working together, which is exciting. Let's talk about pioneering. What does it mean? What do you mean, particularly when you say pioneer or use the word pioneer in the context of evangelism, and why does prayer need to come first?
I really believe in pioneering. I love starting new things and also just trying to discern where's God already at work and how do you add fuel to the fire. Hey, is there a spark? Is there an ember over there? And how do we pour fuel on it? So for me, pioneering is starting something new. Maybe it's praying and saying, God, we open a door into this high school or this university, or it's having a faith conversation and, hey, God, would you open a door in this conversation I have? Would you open a door for the sake of the gospel? Would you open their heart? And so I really believe that pioneering is that new, almost apostolic work that is so needed to take ground in the kingdom and advance his kingdom in the nation.
Yeah, so you're really working with young adults, aren't you? And trying to, one of the leading edges of PAIS is to actually see young adults and impacting schools and universities, but pioneering new ways. Is that a real leading edge, like the looking for the new ways, or is that just something you're particularly passionate about?
Yeah, as a whole, we're really going after new wine. We're going after new ideas. Fully believe that what worked in a school context or even a university context, what worked amongst these younger generations 5, even 10 years ago, isn't necessarily working today. So how do we be creative? How do we engage that right side of our brain and dream, discern, pray, and get creative? And that's some of the most beautiful things in pioneering. And I think a lot of it is that being attentive to the Lord. Actually, God, is this you? Is this your invitation? Because as we know, the harvest is plentiful, right? But the workers are few. So if the harvest is plentiful, if there is just like almost endless work we could do in the field for the rest of our days, wherever that is, we really need to be discerning around going, hey, what is God calling me, inviting me into, and where's he already at work? I think it's so important to ask some of those questions.
Yes, absolutely important. And I love that because it kind of, you naturally have to kind of be in the faith realm to go on that journey when God starts to show you new ways that you can reach out, because you're not doing what you've always done or what you're usually feeling confident about.
Yeah, massively. And it's a step out in faith and it's a big risk, right? But I'm a big believer in that whole, risk it for the biscuit. I think, Peter's a great example of that. Like, none of the other disciples had that kind of experience, but the invitation from Jesus was to come, was to step out in faith and to walk out of the boat and ultimately to walk on water. And I think a lot of people often focus on the fact that he was sinking or drowning at a certain point, but I'm like, no. He was the only one to have a red hot crack. He was the only one to have a go and experience something like ultimately quite supernatural and beautiful, let alone other countless examples, like Elijah in the scriptures that, prayed earnestly, for it to not rain. And like 3.5 years, it says, but then he prayed again and it rained. And I just think like there's something, the intersection between asking God, faith, and just praying and getting on our knees and seeing him, blow our expectations and blow our minds is a pretty cool and fun place to be in.